Classics Illustrated project, based like loosely or not so loosely on the earlier versions of the Classics Illustrated. It's an updated version of them, done by artists and writers whose style and proclivities fit the material. The reason I chose Moby Dick was because of my own obsession with obsession. Here's a man completely, totally immersed, if you will, I mean, pardon the pun, like, and obsessed with the whale. There's a romance to it, and also there's incredible power and tragedy and majesty, and you know, and the motivation behind the characters. I mean, I find that that's something that I'm really drawn to.
Of course, the big problem is, how do you take a 200-page epic like Moby Dick or Great Expectations and cram it into a 44-page comic and still leave room for the sea monkey ads?
Oh, well, it's heartbreaking, especially the Dickens, because he has so many characters that are really fascinating, and I really felt bad having to water down some of the characters, and it wasn't as difficult with Wuthering Heights because there aren't that many characters. It's a real limited and confined story, and it's mostly dialogue. But on a few occasions, it does kind of get down to a critical point as to what to include and what not to. And that's, I don't know, it's a fun process for me. It's kind of a power trip, maybe, I don't know.
I'm working on War and Peace as an 8-page backup. But it's not just classics that are being turned into comics. Anne Rice, her novel Vampire Lestat, turned into a comic. Stephen King's Lawnmower Man turned into a comic. And everything he's ever written has been turned into a movie. I can see it now. Coming soon, Christopher Walken in Stephen King's Shopping List. Actually, most horror films are adapted from literature, you know, except the Goalie Mask Chainsaw Part 88 stuff. Nancy, punch up the names of all the horror films that are based on novels. Okay, just Stephen King novels that were adapted to film that begin with the letter C. Aha. Now I know right away some of you are saying, oh, what about Creepshow? Well, King only directed and appeared in that film, which itself was actually adapted from a 1950s comic. Okay, we've talked about comics adapted to films, but these days any movie that is remotely action, adventure, science fiction, horror is immediately adapted into a comic. The polite term, I believe, is merchandising. The movie The Abyss was comicized by Mike Kaluta.
The movie in its full-blown version was absolutely terrific. The comic book itself is a bit, well, fast-paced and crammed with dialogue and such because there was so much characterization, plot, and development of this alien culture and so on and so forth that we wanted to get in to give this story its true color. So it was crammed. And again, because it was so stuffed with story, it was difficult to do some of the terrific things you can do in comic, like pull away from the action and show something else happening so that the reader can catch up with the story. There was no time for those type of comic book gimmicks, sleight of hand things. We just had to tell the story as it happened, chronologic, bump, 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 bump.
Now, if movie producers are starved for ideas, that goes triple for TV producers. So naturally, TV producers have ripped off a lot of movie ideas. No honor amongst thieves. Nancy, list all the TV shows that were based on movies. So do all these adaptations mean that science fiction, fantasy, and horror and comic books are finally being appreciated as legitimate literary and art forms? Or has Hollywood just run out of other genres to exploit to death?
27 years in Hollywood. I think I have seen 3 of the things I have written done in a way that did not make me cringe. They did a thing up here in Toronto just a little while ago. They did a Twilight Zone of mine called Crazy as a Soup Sandwich, and it's okay. It's all right. But all of the stuff that I put in that really gave it me. I mean, I had an opening shot, man. I had this opening shot where the camera, it's in black and white, shoot low from the shiny asphalt up as this guy comes running, and he's wearing one of these little plastic raincoats you buy for 59 cents, and as he leaps over the camera, you know, you cut reverse shot with him going over, and it's before he hits, before the foot touches, you freeze frame and you do the voiceover. This is such and such a person doing such and such a thing, and he's about to enter the Twilight Zone. As he hits the concrete, you go to color and you show him hiding behind the box. The director wouldn't do it. Why? Because he didn't write that. It had to be his visual. So what did he do? He did the running feet number. Remember the old running feet number? The one where they always have Jack the Ripper walking at about 3 paces a year and the woman running at 165 miles an hour, and Jack the Ripper always catches her. Didn't you ever wonder what shortcut does he know about that we don't?
I'm losing you. Oh, you hijack a signal and they hijack it right back again. There's no such thing as a free launch. Darn, and we didn't get to talk about movies and TV shows that have been adapted into computer games or short stories that have been adapted into full-length novels. Nancy, quickly, are there any other...